today we're checking on
my neglected beehives.
your neglected beehives. Yes. And how long has it been since you've been in them?
Like really been in them at least last summer.
Last summer. And it's now middle of April?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, and you weren't even sure if they were alive until fairly recently, right? You thought they might have been robbing them out?
Right.
Okay, well, should we take a look?
Yeah.
Okay, so right off the top, you can see...
Oh, yuck, there's maggots in there.
Those are waxworms.
Is that bad or good?
They're not good.
Okay.
So, take your hive tool and just smash them. You can just scrape that too, get it out of there. All right, I'm gonna pop the inner cover there.
Gross, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Gross. Okay, so part of the reason why I never wanted to get into them, because one, I never knew what I actually was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I always felt like I squished them all the time.
And you're a little startled of them?
Well, I just always felt like I was squishing them every time
Yeah.
I was moving them around.
Okay, well, that is a full box of bees. So let's get them down a little bit and...
Can I put this off to the side?
Yeah, you can just go ahead and set that off to the side.
But it was fine. Like, it was, having them in the garden was way better than I thought they actually would be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would be kind of more scary, I guess, but it wasn't. So
they're pretty gentle, yeah.
Yeah.
The way I do it, I start there and there and get it off to the side, and then I just make sure it's free on both sides.
Okay.
And then come at an angle like this, and then just pry it up.
Oh, okay.
You're not taking a lot there.
I just always felt like I was damaging comb and stuff. Look at it!
All right, you want to go ahead and grab it?
It's so pretty. Aww.
Okay, so what do you see in there?
I see honey.
Honey.
I see drawn out comb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what you have there.
Wait, do I see? I should have worn my glasses. Okay.
So the shiny stuff is nectar.
Okay.
And then this stuff is capped honey.
Also, they're heavy.
Yeah. Those are your honey frames, so.
Okay, so that's pollen, right?
Yeah. Pollen and honey and...
Oh, wait. What's down there? I see two little yellow things.
Where at? Right here?
Right, yeah.
That's pollen. That's the pollen baskets. That they just started putting pollen in that one.
Oh,
so they kicked it in there, and there hasn't been enough to really fill the whole thing yet.
Okay.
Same thing on that side?
So that's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you can... A lot of times I'll just keep the one out. Yep,
yeah,
and I'll just scoot it to the far side so you have plenty of space.
Okay, this is the other thing. I always drop them in.
It's just a practice thing.
Okay.
Just building confidence. How many times did you get stung last year?
Well, I got stung once on the nose after I got into them over by my greenhouse.
That's a hard place to get stung.
Yeah, they were mad. That hurt really bad. And then a couple times when I was like trying to lift the boxes off and all that, I got stung on my thigh because I squished a bee against me. But just a couple times.
So what do you see there?
Oh, that's brood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kept, oh.
That's a
wait, what's that down there that they're eating on? Yeah.
So that was some drone larvae that was between the top frame and the bottom frame that they pulled apart. So flip it around.
Wait, why is it some of it taller than the other? That's
the drone brood. So the flatter stuff is worker brood, and then the further stuff that is pulled out more, that's drone. And then a queen cell kind of looks like a peanut in the shell.
Yeah, I remember those. So that looks good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Set that one down and move on to the next one.
Oh my gosh, do we have to go through every frame? I also think too I have a little bit of ADD. Okay.
The span of patience isn't very...
Okay, I went through 4 of them. Isn't that enough?
Okay, well.
I'm just kidding.
So this time of the year, especially with how big they are, it's swarming is a concern.
Okay.
So.
And that's when they're just feeling like they're running out of room, right?
Yeah, they feel like they're running out of room. There's a lot of bees in there, and it's the bees' natural way of wanting to reproduce. So they'll make a new queen, and then when that queen is getting ready to hatch or just hatches, around 50% of the bees will take off with the old queen, and first of all, just get out of the hive. A lot of times that ends up in a tree or a bush or something like that. And then after a little while longer, they send out, once they do that, they'll send out some scouts and figure out a more permanent place.
Okay.
So what do you see there?
Lots of capped brood.
Do you see any eggs in there?
Am I supposed to?
Because
No.
So, I don't see any yet on this one. You want to watch the bottom side for your swarm cells, because that's where they tend to be.
Okay.
This frame is just getting ready to emerge.
How do you know that?
Because see how on this side it's just started, like there's one spot where it's open. And then if you look in some areas, so here, see how that one's chewing away and it's getting ready to hatch?
Oh my gosh!
So
that's so cool.
This whole frame's getting ready to emerge, and
okay, so that's
not a lot of time.
All right, it's a good thing you came.
Yep. Seeing now, you have a couple options. So this one I would anticipate seeing some eggs on, because you can tell it's all hatched.
Yeah.
And then can you see in some of the cells where they're starting to put nectar where the brood was?
No.
You see the shiny stuff? Like that one right there, that cell.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay, yeah, I see.
So it's you want to make sure they're, so that one is a.
Oh, I see lots of larvae. Right?
Yeah.
See 'em?
Yep.
Okay.
So I bet your queen isn't too far away.
Okay.
Yep. Larva in all stages, lots of eggs. She's doing good. Can you see the eggs? That's one thing for newer beekeepers, they have a hard time seeing the eggs.
Well,
so
I remember, I honestly, if I'd make, oh wait, I think I see some.
Down here is the last bit, that's freshly laid. So she might be in the bottom box. They look like little grains of rice.
Yeah, I remember seeing them last year, but without my glasses, it is more difficult.
Okay.
Which is a problem, because then I have them sliding off my nose under my hat.
Yeah.
Just you
wait,
Elijah.
Just I wait.
Just you wait.
You want to know what one of the scarier parts of beekeeping is?
What?
When the sweat that's running down your leg starts running up your leg.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay. So, lots of brood. Oh, I see eggs in this one.
Perfect. Lots of brood and lots of pollen.
And that's good, because that's what you did keep telling me something about pollen patties, which I never did. But does
right
this
at the beginning of the season.
But does this mean that they probably were okay?
So sometimes you can kind of get a little bit of a jump, a little bit of a boost for them right before the big, their first kind of pollen and nectar flow. And you can kind of help them start to build up, give them a little extra protein. And then it just kind of helps your size, especially if you're planning on doing some splits and stuff like that. Okay. So I like to use it because it kind of just gives them a little bit of a head start.
Okay.
Ooh, easy there.
Hercules.
Okay.
Am I supposed to be looking for the queen? Because I haven't been.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. But obviously
it's good to get some practice,
in there, right?
Yeah. So we can talk about that. So you sigh eggs, right? So you have a queen. Some other things to keep an eye out for. If you didn't see the capped brood or any of that stuff, and the bees were kind of a little bit grouchier, but you are seeing eggs.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're not seeing multiple eggs per cell.
Oh.
Because that can be a sign of a laying worker.
Okay.
And so that's essentially the colony's last ditch effort to spread their genetics, because they've exhausted their ability to make their own queen. And so now they're just trying to spread their genetics one last time before the hive is no longer with us.
Oh
So
dear. This is not good. Okay, there we go. Oh.
lots of drones.
Yeah. Is that good?
It's the time of year. Having drones is a sign of a healthy colony, as long as it's not too many. You know, if your entire colony is drones, you probably have a laying worker, and it's not great. But
it's not. So.
No, your colony is healthy. This colony looks really good.
So what did you say we wanted to do?
So you have some options. First off, let's set that guy back in there, and then we'll tip the box.
Okay.
And then we'll scrape it on the underside there, and then kind of see. So in the earlier spring, I am highly doubting this colony is doing this, but sometimes the bees don't really want to go down, so you can do a brood box reversal. So you're taking the bottom box and putting them on top and just doing this, and then that way the bees can work up. They like to work up.
Okay.
But like I said, I doubt that's happening now. So go ahead and take your hive tool and then crack in between the boxes. Just lift up. Okay.
I'm so scared right now.
It's okay. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. All I'm doing is...
Do you remember when you made me eat a larva?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You tried drone larva.
I did.
How did it taste?
Like, what did we say it was like?
It had like an almond taste.
It wasn't horrible, but...
I'll give you a hand with this part. So,
okay, thank you.
All we're going to do is we want to make sure that these are not... You want to just make sure that frame isn't going to go anywhere. A lot of times I like to start by doing this. Those frames are nice and solid in there.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, and what is the purpose of this? Just so the boxes don't stick together?
Yeah, you're just cleaning them up and making it so it's not as messy and you're not squishing bees. So by looking at what we did, I think your queen's probably in this bottom box. But we didn't see any swarm cells or none of that, so I'm not super concerned about that yet. But I do think that you have a couple options. Yeah, so these bees are doing good. They're healthy. They're bringing in nectar, pollen, and we want to square it up so it lines up.
Okay, so we're not trying to get into the bottom box.
No, so you can if you want to.
I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I mean, I don't feel like I need to unless you think that we need to.
No, so because I haven't seen swarm cells.
Okay.
Quite a bit of drone brood, but I haven't seen any swarm cells.
Okay.
A couple queen cups at the bottom. If you want, you can take your hive tool, and then what I do is I just push all the frames at one time like this. And then we'll fit that last frame in there. It's good to have a little extra space. You can always even them out later. Typically, if I'm not overwhelmingly concerned with swarming, I also have quite a few hives to get through. So I'll kind of just keep going and not be too concerned about it. So it's kind of up to you.
But if there was something where you're like, I don't really like the look of that.
Exactly. If it's something that's
like we didn't see any eggs.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. If we weren't seeing eggs, or we were really concerned about swarming, we needed to make sure there was no more cells down below, or anything like that. That would definitely be a reason to get down below. But because we have some stuff here to do this evening, and we're just doing a really quick hive check to see what we need to do, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. So, as far as options, they are fairly big, and I do think they're going to be looking at swarming in the not too distant future.
Okay.
So I think some of your options are either you could take a split from them and add an additional colony.
Okay.
Or you don't have access to a queen right now, which you don't have to. You could do a walkaway split. The other thing you could do is just go ahead and put a super on it and see if they'll make you some honey.
Okay.
I'm sure they would. And I think, honestly, I'd probably do that regardless, because you saw those cells where they're starting to backfill with nectar. If the brood's hatching and they're just backfilling it with nectar, you can get what's called honey bound. And so the queen doesn't have any more places to lay because there's so much honey where she was laying. So it's good to give them additional space to go ahead and put that honey. So I definitely think we should add a super. But
do you want to look in the other one first before we decide if...
Yeah, we can do that.
We want to split it?
Yeah.
Or do you think we should just split it?
let's look into the other one. Let's see what the other poor abandoned hive looks like. Let's go ahead and pop the top and see what's going on. So there's some bees.
Oh,
So
was not expecting that.
So see how this is kind of messy here?
Yeah.
That's essentially bee diarrhea.
You said dysentery.
Yeah, so right off the top of my... So let's go ahead and lift this up first. I don't know why I'm waving around
Maybe
a lighter.
they're just playing the Oregon Trail game.
Oregon Trail game?
Yeah, dysentery. You have died.
Okay.
Okay, this one's heavy.
Yep, that's a lot of honey.
Oh my word, sakes alive.
Yep, that's a lot of honey. So
Okay.
yeah.
If we do the split and these guys had dysentery, does that mean, like, do we have to somehow clean that up first?
Yeah. You don't want to put sickness from one hive into another, right?
Right.
So if you were to do a split, what we would probably do is take these frames, we'll clean them up, go through them to make sure. See, there's a little bit of mold there too, and see that's their only spot right there where they're actually active. So we would clean these frames up and get them to the point where we feel comfortable we're using them.
Okay.
So I would say maybe not quite yet as far as making a split.
Oh, there's another tiny little patch. Look at these guys. They're all dead on that side.
Yep. So because of the dysentery and all that stuff, I would say that's your queen right there. So see how small she is?
Yeah.
She looks like a virgin. You see any eggs in there?
Yes, I do.
A lot or just a couple?
Well, they're kind of covering them.
Yeah, but see how small that area is? So that queen, she's so small. There isn't enough bees to take care of the eggs she's laying.
Okay.
So I guess a better way to say that, they don't have enough bees to actually survive this. I mean, there's less than a baseball of bees in this entire hive. So the queen seems like she might want to be able to start laying.
What is those down there? Are those some kind of eggs or something down there?
Here, that's from the wax cappings when they chewed off the honey. It kind of falls, and so it kind of creates this powder looking stuff.
Oh, I feel like these frames look horrible.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see why that's not okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to go through the rest of it?
That might be the end of it as far as the bees go. The rest of it, I think, is going to be some frames that we just need to clean up. Here, I'm going to leave that to you. I have a bee stinging me in the leg. Take care of that real quick. Remember how we were talking about that sweat running up?
Yeah.
I felt that a minute ago. I knew it was coming. Okay.
Okay, so what do we do?
So let's put everything back together.
Okay.
And then we can go talk about some options. And then that way we'll actually have a plan.
So if there's this dumb, but if there's dysentery up here, there's dysentery down there.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll need to go through everything. For now, we'll put everything back together. We'll go make our fondant, and then we'll be prepared to make a split. Maybe do it tomorrow even. And then, yeah.
Okay, but so they're coming in there.
Yep. So just put that right back on. This is where they were using their entrance, so they're not going down below. So there might be dead bees blocking that entrance, and that's why they're going only up here. So.